So James didn't do his homework, I see.
I am Brooks for today.
Wow.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the There Be podcast. I am your host, Chris. We are here to talk about entertainment, talk about culture, talk about whatever the hell we feel like. I'm here, of course, with my wonderful friends and co-hosts. We're going to start with Mike, who's trying to deal with all the technical issues tonight. How you doing, Mike?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm just glad we were able to start.
Aren't we all? And James, how you doing, James? We're taking a little bit long here.
I was gonna say I'm just here so I don't get fined, but I already got fined, so there goes that.
That's how Mike's paying for the podcast, right? Finding James. And are unfortunately landing last in our league, last amongst the podcasters.
Okay.
It's Keith.
Okay.
That was funny.
From all the way up top.
I'm the last among winners.
Last among winners. Talk about, I was told I was flying too close to the sun.
This season was definitely it was I declare shenanigans. It was preposterous. Ludicrous even.
Ludicrous.
I think a little
ludicrous.
It was a little bit ludicrous. And yeah, it was pretty much hogwash. So you guys can have your tainted season.
Look, I'm really sad that Brooks isn't here because I'm still beating her right now for third place.
I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx you.
Nah, I'm already jinxed. It's okay. I jinxed myself last week. So I had a chance. I had a chance to go for number one, but
if you're not first, you're last. I don't even care anymore at this point.
Hey, I'll take the bronze medal in my first year. I'll take the bronze medal. All right, why don't we move on here? So today we're going to talk about. We're going to drop some news. We're going to talk about Shadow and Bone, and I'm going to talk about the Demon Slayer movie a little bit before the end of the night. But that's all coming up, and we're going to start tonight with our news. So in the news today is number one. Let's talk about the Venom trailer. I don't believe Keith here has seen it, and so we're going to play it live and get his reaction. I'm pretty excited to see it. Let's go, Mike. Let's do it.
And go. Whoa, what's that?
That's the opposite of that Teeth movie, the sequel.
Wrong trailer, Mike.
That was semen. That wasn't Venom.
That was definitely not Venom.
Why?
You got to hit play, Mike.
Yeah, sorry, I had to reset. Sorry, ready?
Oh, yep.
All right.
Yeah, it plays a little thing before it plays the trailer.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, it's going to play a trailer in 10 seconds.
Here's our trailer for the trailer.
Mm-hmm. And this is the world we live in.
Uh-huh.
I say either. You guys say either. I say neither.
I'm actually kind of into the nuttiness of this.
Let's call
Yeah, this is probably the good part of this trailer.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a symbiote if you cooked me breakfast every morning.
Yeah, but not if he emptied your cabinets every morning to cook you breakfast.
Yeah, this is when the
Good evening,
trailer
Eddie.
turns.
Good evening, Venom.
This is Jen.
He says hi.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
I've been thinking about you, Eddie.
What do you guys think of Woody Harrelson here?
Yeah, I was saying earlier to James that I like the crazy part.
The same.
I like crazy Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know we're not going to see a lot of him. More
Yeah.
That's crazy well.
Bugle.
Who do we leave behind? And how do we leave them? Waiting.
Marvel's version of Arkham.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rescuer who never comes.
Oh, they kill the spider. That means
Welcome back,
every
Eddie
Spider-Man ever is going to be in this
Dead.
movie.
It's been a long time.
That's right.
Even the Electric Company
Miss
Spider-Man.
you so much.
Yeah, he does a good crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
Come chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks fine.
Come.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's something spectacular. I mean, it's the first trailer too, but like that was a cool shot right there.
Yeah, that shot of Carnage and then the opening for the Sony logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I liked about the first Venom movie was
It hasn't arrived yet.
it was a little nutty.
What's gonna happen? You gonna stop protecting me?
I am happy to eat, Mrs. Chen.
No, you can't eat Mrs. Chen. What? Nothing?
What do you think,
Okay.
Keith? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna see it. I like what I'm glimpsing of the special effects and such.
Yeah.
I want to see like I want to see a snippet of a fight scene or something like that. Like just something that's like I see how like smoothly the CGI kind of runs.
I have a feeling like trailer 2 might show
A little bit more.
Yeah.
I have a feeling though that the movie's gonna disappoint like the first one did though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I was really low on the first one, and I thought it had a little bit nuttiness to it when I watched it. Like it was a little almost not B movie, but it was like just that kind of more fun than I expected it to be. So I actually thought it was better than my expectations, but my expectations were really low for the first Venom movie.
Yeah. See, my problem
lucky
with my problem with Venom is I'm not a fan of the fragmented Spider-Man universe. Like, I'd like it to be all together, but you know, whatever. And my other issue is every movie going to be fighting another symbiote. You know.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the problem of the Flash, right?
Yeah.
Where the Flash's bad guys are a lot of other Flashes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but hold on. Unlike the Flash, Spider-Man does have a pretty large.
plus that's
villain.
Spider-Man. This is Venom. So remember, we're not in the Spider. They don't know Spider-Man exists in this universe. This is a Venom.
Yeah, the whole
how does he
existence
get-
of Venom is
How does
based
he
on
get?
Spider-Man.
How does this Venom get to Earth then?
At the beginning of the first
Beginning of the last
movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
So this has
mission.
yeah, this is
No, that's what I'm
completely
saying, but I thought,
separated
like,
at this
So
point.
it didn't have anything to do with Spider-Man?
No.
Not
No.
in this universe. So
No.
I think eventually, once they get as far as like say the MCU wants to go with Spider-Man, I think they're gonna merge those. You're
I
gonna
hope
get
so. Actually, so my preference would have been to keep Venom as a bad guy against Tom Holland in another movie.
For an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Maybe not full bad.
No,
See,
right, yeah.
I think they're missing out on just grabbing another different Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099, Miles, something,
Yeah.
some other
Why can't you do Power Cosmic Spider-Man?
not Peter Parker. Just
Sony
make
can't do
another
that. It'll
Spider-Man.
have to be MCU key.
Huh?
They don't think they can do that, but they have all the rights to do all that.
They don't
Yeah.
have they don't have the writing and the
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the
Like,
talent.
are we gonna get a what you call it? What's that next war? That war?
Secret
What are you
War?
talking about?
Yeah,
Secret War?
Wars?
Mhm.
Well,
You
the
think
next
we'll get
thing
a
in the
Secret War?
in the
Possibly.
they're
Because there's so many
doing-
characters to introduce, like the Beyonder, the like. It's
that's like
I-
phase 9, the last phase of MCU.
are they gonna
Well,
revisit? Are they gonna revisit X-Men? Is
Yeah.
that getting a
Yeah.
so like
Well-
are we doing a much better version of like the Phoenix Saga?
I don't know. I
don't know.
hope not. I think
Because
we've
the
got
Phoenix Saga has enough material to be like Lord of the Rings, like 3 Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
they can introduce the Shi'ar Empire. There's so much they can do. But that's
Yeah,
like they have enough phases down the road. I mean, that's
Yeah,
I would.
that'll be when
our
we,
kids will be doing Heroes Peak talking about those.
that's what I was gonna say when we're doing it live from the retirement home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far at the end of this next phase is when you're getting the Fantastic Four, and I have a feeling that that's when you're going to switch over to the X-Men being introduced. Is after you get through this next phase.
Yeah, I want them to
Fantastic Four.
revisit. I really want them to get back to the X-Men, yo. Like,
I just hope that they don't
Not-
start with a Phoenix Saga. I really hope they're smart enough to just build the X-Men to that point where we care about it happening, and not just
yeah, that would be. But I think that there's an understanding that we're already familiar with the X-Men. Is
right.
what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think like.
We don't need to rehash or do what DC does and always show the
Yeah,
death of
so
Batman's
that may
parents.
be a possibility of just, but they already did a BS Phoenix Saga.
That was under Fox.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, I think like they'll have to back into this whole like new MCU thing. Like it has to be a different.
Yeah.
I think an example is the Incredible Hulk. How the Ang Lee Hulk gave you, the TV version of Hulk's backstory mixed with the comics. So, but the MCU didn't retreat any of that stuff. It just went through Dr. Banner trying to figure out how to cure himself. It didn't give you a whole backstory how he became Dr. Banner any longer.
No,
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
go ahead,
like,
Mike.
show me, bring the X-Men into like a Spider-Man or another MCU movie, and have them as like X-Men Unleashed. They've been training this whole time, and now it's time for them to join the fight.
Someone's just got to visit the school. Just go visit the school.
something like that. Yeah.
The school has been active. The school is, especially like if you go after the snap or something to that effect, where there was some mutation. Then you got these kids, and so this guy is teaching some young kids. You go the school route, and then you can have that youth again. Now I know a lot of people are talking about them building young Avengers, so you could even kind of mix and match some Young Avengers meets Young X-Men kind of.
You can. And then through the future phases, you do all the arcs. Like, from what's his name? Not Apocalypse. Nathan Summers.
Well, you could do Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, Age of
Do all of
Apocalypse.
that. There's so
Execution of Song. You can go through Fatal Attractions before you get to the Phoenix Saga in like phase 8.
Yeah, there's so many different X-Men things that I just hope they've been pretty good at picking a thing and not being stuck in what exactly it said at the comic book it has to be, but getting a good version of it and putting it that fits on screen. So I'm not gonna.
They're doing a really good job of those like building up to because they like how they build up to Infinity War.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the build up to Secret Wars is like all of that is what I'm interested in what I'm invested in. Like I want these other characters to come out.
And that's what we're getting with the.
I want this whole MCU to really flesh out. Like,
yeah. So you know what I was thinking though, the best time to introduce them is during the Fantastic Four movie, like at the end. I would say.
And Silver Surfer needs a movie.
Doctor Doom. A proper Doctor Doom.
Anyway, we're jumping.
Galactus.
Yeah.
We're jumping
Bring back Thanos again.
Well, we do have Armor Wars and Secret Wars basically happening in this next phase.
Yeah.
Because that's the two television shows are basically running those two things. So we'll see which one actually they take and maybe push into that next level back into the MCU at large. Speaking of the MCU, one other newsworthy note is that the Loki series. An interesting thing that they started doing was they are every Wednesday from starting today through the release of the Loki series is they're having a giant watch party on Disney Plus. So basically every Wednesday they're promoting running a Thor / Loki movie or a Loki movie up until the release. So I think tonight they're showing Thor 1, next week's Thor
That's
2.
cute.
Then they're
And
doing
it works because it's middle of the week Wednesday. It's not
They
like
should
the
just-
weekend where nobody cares.
They should just troll everybody and just show Dark World every week.
Oh
Right.
God.
and then the week before they're actually running both Infinity War and Endgame back to back.
Hmm.
And it's basically a giant hashtag. They're trying to create a community build up to the Loki release, which I think is an interesting way to use the watch party instead of, okay, so this is a thing that they were just releasing to the world, let other people make these. But this is a company kind of starting a watch party at large with the community. I thought that was just an interesting note.
That remind me of the Brandon Davis from comicbook.com when he did the Endgame and Infinity War watch parties. It got so large that the Russo brothers themselves joined, and Robert Downey Jr. joined. I mean, that's how. I guess they're seeing how successful that is, and man, is he smart?
And it's possible that as they get up, they could grab a couple of celebrities, a couple of stars, directors, or whatever, and get them involved.
Surprise! We've got Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, if Tom Hiddleston isn't on the one the week before, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Look, right now I'm just happy that they're gonna fix the Mandarin, Shang-Chi. So
yeah, it looks pretty. That looks pretty sweet. Okay, everybody. Well, we take a minute break, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about Shadow and Bone, the Netflix television series. Be right back.
Cool.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Here's Peak Podcast here. We're going to talk about Shadow and Bone, the new series on Netflix. And Mike's going to tell us a little bit about that series. Let it go, Mike. Let it go.
Yep. So Shadow and Bone is a new series on Netflix based on a series of novels by Lee Barduga. Dark forces conspire against orphan mapmaker Alina Starkov when she unleashes an extraordinary power that could change the fate of her war-torn world.
Yeah. So I'm up to episode 5 on this. Where did you guys get to?
I finished it.
I finished it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So James didn't do his homework, I see.
I am Brooks for today.
Wow.
Ouch.
You can tell her in her face.
And you wonder why you got fined?
Yeah, that's one of my fines.
HR. All right. So this is a YA series, as Mike said, is based on a book series, but also from what I've heard, it's a mix and match of multiple book series. It includes characters, it updates characters, it adjusts characters. That usually happens in movie or television show adaptations of these kind of books. So this is a YA series, definitely. And so it's a magical fantasy world, and we're following a young woman. I'm assuming she's supposed to be like 18 in this. I don't know. It didn't really give you
they don't
an
really
age.
say anybody's age in this thing.
But they
except
are
except the Dark Force dude.
Dark
like 1,000 years old or something.
Right.
Dark
So
Force,
just so everybody knows, there's going to be some spoilers here. So
before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
So you got these two young people, but they're old enough to be drafted into the army, and one discovers that she has superpowers that could possibly save this world, and it kind of goes from there. It's we follow her and her best friend in the army. We follow a group of they're called the Crows. They're like a bad side of the tracks group. One owns a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a seedy bar, and he's got his bouncer and his assassin, And you got all these characters. What did you guys think of the character setups? Because this is a pretty big world they're introducing you to. It isn't like they started with one character and you went that way. They really gave you a big, wide world here to start out with.
Yeah,
I like
Go ahead,
I like what they did. I like what they did with the characters. Like it of course room for improvement, but like they like the East Indian the assassin
Ninja kind of style.
yeah
That doesn't kill.
It doesn't
funny.
kill. It
Right.
doesn't kill, which is all just
or
hilarious.
so you think.
So she is like I do like their attempt at developing the individual characters. It definitely, if I'm being honest, it started off a little bit. It was feeling a little bit corny, and then it kind of like it was definitely not until like maybe like the second or third episode that I really kind of okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
But I definitely I enjoyed the character development. I think that they did a decent to above average job of the character development.
Mike, what did you think of the characters?
Yeah, for the most part, most of them were fine. I didn't mind a big cast. Like I can't really think of another good series since Game of Thrones with a nice big cast, you know, and where everybody plays a part.
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah. I liked it. So it kind of reminded me, like in the beginning, kind of reminded me of Airbender with these powers that these people have.
Yeah,
that's
powers,
the corny part.
Yeah,
that's the part where it was corny.
The powers were very reminiscent, and the way they activated the powers and things like that.
Yeah, and then they started showing people who could do things beyond the elements. You know, with like the heart guy, the heart bender guy, whatever you call him. And there was a few. Like there was one that could persuade people or something. I don't even remember, but so. But overall, yeah, so far a good ensemble. It was a little confusing to me, like how, because you had the main group, the orphan Sun Summoner and Mal and that whole section, and then you had the bar owner and the Indian woman and the gunslinger, and I was like, well, how are they gonna? Why would they come together? You know what I mean? But they kind of worked it out, so yeah, it works out. But it didn't seem like it was going the right way as they were going. So I don't know. It was just weird. And then the one thing that was weird was like then they had the Fjorden guy and the one woman that got kidnapped. I don't know if you've seen that part yet, but that part that part reminded me of when they were trapped in the north or something. Reminded me of Jon Snow and the redhead.
Oh God! Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh.
So for me, I thought the first episode, like Keith said, was really kind of slow, and so I turned it on today, trying to see if my I could get some of my family interested to watch with me, and like the first episode was not attracting anybody. Even though I thought the actors were picking up the character beats, they were making whatever they were doing, their interactions were all rather interesting enough that the characters weren't boring or dull, right? But there wasn't any big action or anything to really draw in a new watcher until the very end of that first episode. And you're right, once they kicked that off where you're like, oh, so this is the world, this is what's interesting about this world, and then the ball really starts to get rolling.
Yeah, and by episode 4 or 5, then everything really starts moving along.
And they did manage to give you some interest in the characters. Obviously, you're always going to have some more than others, but I do think they did well enough to make you understand each of these characters and their role within the world that they live in. Like it didn't feel like anybody was just well, that person doesn't belong there. They all felt like they belonged in this world.
Yeah. But I'm with you there on that first episode because I watched that first episode weeks ago. And then I was like, I guess I'll come back to this eventually.
Right.
And my wife was like, no, you should watch it because it does get better. So I was like, all right. And then after, like I said, once I got to episode 4, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So definitely worth a watch here.
All right, so let's talk about the fantasy element. Now, one thing when you're watching a new fantasy show is trying to break into their vocabulary because they always have to introduce the new names of new towns, new names of people, their races are all new names, their powers are all new names. So sometimes that can be difficult to kind of break yourself into in a new fantasy series.
Right.
Like it took me a while to get the whole Grisha thing, but other than that, it just felt like this could really be happening in the edge of Russia or something. The way they were kind of handling the people, and it didn't feel too far afield of it didn't feel like Lord of the Rings kind of level. Like I've never seen any of this. It felt a little more natural, kind of alt history version rather than super fantasy. Well, what do you guys think?
Yeah, so
I definitely. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, like the world kind of just reminded me of like if you want to map it out, like Eastern Europe, Russia, and like Nordic countries, like, just like that, basically.
Yeah, if you took Russia and you made it really small, and so there was, you could get a little bit more world around it. It's basically felt like
so
that,
Russia would be like the Ravka or whatever, East Ravka or whatever they called it. And,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then China's like the other side, and
yeah,
it basically felt like that.
But
there was
you gotta throw
definitely
a
a
desert
bit
in.
of realism to it. And I'm sure it's purposeful, but I wonder how purposeful it was supposed to be. Like, but there's a texture of it that feels like, oh, this is old world us. Like this is, yeah,
right.
One of the things I liked is I think it was Mal, who so far is probably one of my favorite characters. The way that what they're doing with him, he basically talks about how the invention of the gun even the playing field with the superpower, the Grisha or whatever.
Right.
And I thought that was a real interesting, like they didn't make them outside of the Sun Summoner and the Shadow guy. They never felt super overpowered, right? They felt like they could do some cool tricks and maybe beat up a person with their powers and were a little dangerous, but they never felt like they were, Superman or anything like that with the superpowers. What did you guys think of the whole power structure that way?
The dude, the dark dude,
Darkling or something like that. I think they were calling it.
Or yeah,
Shadow.
the Darkling, Shadow King,
General Kerrigan, right? That's what you mean.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like he seemed to have a very kind of like superior power though. Like they didn't really do it. Like how did he get? How did he just be the one that's so powerful? Like I never understood that.
Well, like
I think
her and Alina are supposed to be like opposites, aren't they? They should be like the opposite. She's the Sun Summoner, and he's like the Shadow Bringer or something, right?
And I think they are just like the 1 in a million.
Right, they're rare.
Kind of. So there's not like a dozen Shadow guys superpower running around. Most people can just like toss a ball of fire or make you think weird thoughts. Other than that, they seemed pretty.
So you know what bugged
kept
me?
in check.
You know what bugged me about one thing about the powers? You have these airbenders. I don't know what to call them. They're airbenders.
Yeah, no, they're airbenders. Yeah,
and they're pushing these skiffs across the sand, but nobody thought to like make a glider and push it with the air over the fold.
It with
But
that
maybe
kind
they
of
don't
stuff.
want to risk. Maybe they don't want to risk falling.
I guess.
Well, like they said, they tried to go underneath it. Like somebody said, dig a tunnel, and they said something found them underneath. So maybe they tried to go over it. Like they can't. They don't seem to have dirigibles yet. Do they
Rituals,
not?
Jesus.
Yeah, but somehow Ang was able to. Sorry.
Yeah, not on, please.
Don't. My apologies. Don't
Yeah,
tweet
that
me
was
about M. Night Shyamalan. I don't want to hear it. Okay, so Aang was able to get a little glider, right? Push the air and get himself up in the air. So
Well, I think the difference here is these people seem to, in order to get any power, they have to definitely use their hands in a very specific way.
Mm-hmm.
Like the animated series of The Last Airbender, they could kind of set up big uses of their power with a lot less, hand play. Whereas, like in the M. Night Shyamalan movie, they had to do like a whole figure dance in order to like move a rock. So I think here they seem to have these very specific hand signs, like do sign language. Like the one lady they captured by throwing something around her so she couldn't move her hands.
Right.
And then they tied them up, and then she was basically powerless. So I don't know. This world seems to have set up that you have to use your hands to activate your powers. Kind of like the snap.
Yeah.
By holding Thanos' glove, all of a sudden he's powerless because even though he's got all of the things.
Because
So
he's
yeah,
got close his fist, right?
Yeah, the little closest fist.
Yeah.
He's got to drop the salt. Like that's how he activates the glove. So it seems to be an activation method. All right. Was there a character for you guys that really stuck out to you that you thought was fun or interesting or whatever?
I like the makeup artist that came in when Alina was back at the palace, and she came in to do the makeup and change the hair, shoot the healer.
Yeah, she's like a healer that can adjust the body. She
Right.
can make things disappear, or
she could do like plastic surgery without,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like temporary plastic surgery. She like
Yeah.
held the bug and gave her eyeshadow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was a good. I think that I liked once they got past the generic throwing fire and gave other people more interesting depth of powers. I thought then, okay, this world is a little different. It's not just an airbender thing. It's more than that.
Yeah.
Keith, did you have a character you liked?
The Darkling.
Yeah, you really liked him?
Yeah, I just felt like he was very, but I like him for many of his roles that he's played, but pretty much I guess along the same lines. But he's pretty like there was a kind of like a quiet intensity he kind of brought to that character, and I dig it. And I like the powers that particular character had. Yeah.
He was in The Punisher, by the way, season 2.
Yeah, he was
the bad guy.
His characters.
Yeah.
No, not Crossbones.
I forget.
No.
The guy with the messed up. He had the skull mask. It was all messed up.
Well, he was he was the head of that private security firm.
Yeah, I like this character.
Yeah.
He was his best friend.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I forget. Cool. Yeah, he was good. I would say I like the combo gunslinger and the ninja girl.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they had a fun little relationship, and I thought they were like. One thing I love in a series is seeing people who are just awesome at doing something different.
Yeah,
it's like, would Lord of the Rings be as cool if Aragorn wasn't the best ranger and Gimli wasn't an awesome fighter? Like, I like that group getting together. That's really awesome, and they're fun to watch. And I liked the gunplay, like his
the shooter dude.
So
like his time.
I read he did a lot of training, and they didn't realize how much training he did. They were going to do more CGI for his.
Oh, really?
Stuff. But
and they realized he didn't. Yeah. They didn't have to.
Right. So that was cool.
He's firing firing real bullets on set. Oh, hey, look at this. This is cheaper.
By the way, Chris, it's Bullseye, season 3.
Bullseye.
No.
I like that actor.
Season 2 of
No.
Punisher.
Punisher.
No.
Punisher.
No,
Season
Bullseye
2.
was Daredevil season 3.
Oh yeah, that wait. We
Yeah,
about
but we're
Punisher.
talking about Punisher season 2.
Punisher, the dude who was his best friend.
Oh, that's Jigsaw.
Jigsaw. There you go. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, because he rubbed his face on the glass.
Glass. In
Yeah. It was one of those where you're slightly scarred, and so you think you're a monster.
That's actually a better actor too. That guy. I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah. He was good. But yeah, I like that. I liked what they set up with those characters and their superpowers that weren't superpowers, but they're just really good at it.
How long was this season, by the way?
They can give
Like,
me
you guys
more
haven't
Punisher.
touched upon how long, how many episodes?
It's 8 episodes, about an hour.
Hour each?
Yeah.
So it's 8 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the perfect. It's one of those that like this is my preferred length of season. I like the 8 to 10, 6 to 8. You know,
That's pushing
that
it, but
range.
yeah.
It really is the preferred length for me.
Yeah, without spoiling it too much, at the end there, the sun and the sun summoner, Alina and the general have to fight each other basically. And she's trying to undo the fold, and he's trying to keep the fold. And but she gets away, but they don't undo the fold. So, like, I guess that's coming in season 2.
Right. So
But
my one question,
I was a little confused why they didn't do it, but maybe Keith knows.
I would say my one question, because I haven't finished this season yet, is one of the things that they really stress in the first episode, especially, is how different she is. That she's a different race than everybody else. But whenever they show all of the towns, it's like 85% white everywhere. Like, I'm not understanding the racism.
I don't think it's more. I think it's like nationalism as opposed to racism.
Well, I don't know. The pictures on the wall are very. Well, the pictures on the wall are very yellow scare of like World War II era propaganda pictures.
Right.
Like
there's a line that the Indian woman says when they were talking about being scared for themselves or something like having to walk around with fear, and she was like, "Yeah, welcome to my world," like pointing at her skin color. So I think like there was a little bit of a layering of both there.
Yeah, they were definitely putting it out there. I was just surprised because it's not like you saw these towns that they came from and they hired like a large number of actors to match them. It just felt like they were just using it as a layer, but not actually doing anything with it. You know what I mean? Like it was a way to separate the main character or these side characters that you're following without doing anything from there. Because they were already different because they were these Grisha superpowers or whatever, low class. So it was just an odd thing I noticed that they were really stressing. I mean, in the first episode, she wasn't even like the cook didn't even give her food because she looked different. Like you're really pushing it really there.
Yeah.
To not do anything with it. Okay. Well, I'm definitely gonna finish it. I'm actually enjoying it overall. It's YA series aren't something that's huge anymore, so it's nice to see one come back.
It's good content.
Yeah, it's good content. I think
that was the thing that had me a little leery about it. Weary, one of those words. Because it was like a teeny bopper thing again. Like I didn't want to start watching it turn out to be another Twilight or something, So, but
that's the thing. Yeah, it can go either way. You can either get a Hunger Games, you can get a Twilight, you can get like which way is it gonna go?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, so we're gonna recommend. Do you want to rate this season?
Ooh, I want to hear this.
Do you want to grade the season?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B-.
Ooh,
that's where I'm going.
Ooh, all right, it's worth me to watch.
I'm
guys.
giving it a B so far. I still haven't gotten to the
I don't trust Chris's grades.
I like how it's built up. Like the first episode was a little slow, and it's definitely built up to more interesting bits.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our review for.
Oh, Keith gave it a B minus, right?
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
B minus. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, and that's a review for Shadow and Bone on Netflix, and we'll be right back in a second. And I'm gonna give a little Demon Slayer review.
Yeah, I saw it too, though. I saw Demon
Oh, you saw it too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mike has entered the anime squad.
All right, both of us will go back.
We'll be right back.
All right, everybody, we're back, and me and Mike are gonna talk Demon Slayer, the movie, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie / Mugen Train.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no choice.
Knock that shit off.
Give us some good anime reviews. The people have been waiting for this.
I give it an F because the title wasn't long enough.
And now we're canceled.
The fantabulous Mugen Train with Harley Quinn.
We're now canceled.
That's right.
Never go against the anime crowd, guys.
No. So this is a movie comes off of the anime television series Demon Slayer, which I've watched the whole
Netflix?
thing. Mike,
Netflix, right? Netflix.
yeah.
Is it
Mike,
on
have you
Netflix?
what? I believe the anime is. I watch it on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Crunchyroll.
Okay,
But,
cool. No, I have. So I've never watched. the
You've
anime.
never watched it.
I've heard.
Okay.
I've heard of the show. Never
Mhm.
watched. Yeah, never watched it. So I went into this movie without
Completely
any prior
blind.
knowledge of. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have some questions for you in a minute. So,
Okay.
but one thing about movies based on television shows is they tend to fall into a couple of types. So you have the movie that completes the story. So like a television show's been canceled and they decide to throw a movie, an hour and a half movie in it to basically rush and finish off the series. Kind of like Serenity. I don't know if you guys have ever seen
Yeah.
Serenity, the series movie.
Right.
Okay. You have these Elseworld stories. So Naruto does this a lot, where they have like a dozen Naruto movies.
I like your pronunciation.
But they're all like have like different world or like he gets into a time loop or something where it doesn't really affect the world of the movie, right?
Yeah.
You have ones that just retell what you watched in the series, but with like more money. So Boruto did this, or Mission Impossible. This is kind of the Mission Impossible television series. Once they made it in the movies, it's not like they tried to continue what the series was doing. They just said, we're restarting this thing.
Yeah.
But this one, the Demon Slayer, is just a long episode. This continues the story that you have seen in the series. The characters in it are all introduced in the series, and when you watch the movie, even though it does some introductory work, it kind of expects that you know some of the stuff that's going on. It doesn't take too much time to try to explain the world to you, even though it gives you hints and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to be interested in asking Mike here is, what do you understand about this world that you got introduced in the movie for you?
Yeah, so from what I gathered, you have this universe where you have humans and you have demons. Obviously, from the title, you're going to have demons. So, and then you have these, they look like kids who are killing these demons. They're, I guess, trained from somewhere. They didn't go into any training in the movie, right? So I assume that just came from the series, any kind of training they went through during the series, right? And they all have these unique, these also, again, elemental powers, right? So
and that's where I think the series versus just a movie that's a continuance is difficult here, because the demon slayers are whatever age. It's not like they're little kids that get brought to a school. Basically, demons are, if a demon bites a person, they can make them a demon.
Okay.
And so there's this group of demon slayers that get trained by expert swordsmen, and they go out and try to kill demons. But it can be whatever age. The main character is, I'm guessing they never give an age, but he's like the oldest brother of a group of siblings that got killed. So, which you see his backstory sort of in the movie. You see him living with his family and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming he's in the late teens.
Yeah.
You know, most of the main characters in their late teens, and then the guy with the fire, with the yellow hair, I'm assuming he's late 20s. But
Hashibira, is that his name?
Yeah, Hashira is actually his title. He's the Flame Hashira. And so he is one of a group of the top level demon slayers on the world.
Okay.
Top.
Okay.
So
top.
So what I gathered too is there seem to be different, I guess they call them rankings of demons.
Yes.
And
yes, there are rankings.
Like Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Well, there's like the number one demon, and he's got his crew, and his crew's like the S rank demons. And then all the other demons want to be a part of that crew. So tattooed on their eyeballs are like numbers. And so this is you see in this movie like a demon that's like a level down and like a top ranked demon. So like the number 3 demon, I think, was the last one for the fight.
Yeah, that OP guy
Yeah. All right, let me ask you if you understood the girl in the box.
No. What was that about?
All right. So this is great. So the way the series starts is the main character, his family basically gets murdered.
Right.
And what you find out is another thing you probably saw. Did you notice he used his sense of smell quite a bit?
Yeah, he could smell upwind and downwind where the demons were.
He's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando.
Yeah, he's basically got a super
downwind.
Nose. But what happens is he fights off a demon having never been trained. And his sister, who is the girl in the box, is bitten and becomes a demon. But his goal is to not let his sister get killed. And so he carries his sister everywhere. But because she's a demon, she has some special powers, one of which is to shrink. And so basically he carries that box on his back everywhere, which is his sister, who is a demon.
But she's the one with the thing on her mouth, right?
Yeah, it's basically a muzzle.
Yeah. So she's released like towards the end of the movie.
Right.
They're all asleep, yeah.
And so she has all the negatives and positives of being a demon, and his whole goal in the whole first series was to get people to not try to kill his sister while trying to fight demons, while training to be a demon hunter, while so
there's this whole was the first series.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was in the teens would be my guess.
So this movie, 2 hours, is probably the culmination of what, maybe 12 hours worth of.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So all right. So let's go through it then, Mike. What did you think of the story overall of these demon slayers? They get sent on a mission on a train where people are disappearing, and they end up having to fight a demon on the train. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So I thought. So, like I said, not seeing the series, I thought it was a good anime movie to watch, where you don't really have to know too much to enjoy it, right?
Right.
You understand that they're demons. You understand that they're on an assignment, on a mission to protect the train, protect the passengers on the train, and then you're going to expect that they're going to get attacked. So all that unfolds, and it was quite enjoyable. So.
Yeah. What did you think of the animation? Because the biggest thing a
I
lot
was
of people
waiting for
enjoy it.
you, Mr. Art Illustration Geek.
One of the things people enjoy most about watching anime, if I were to say, is watching the battle scenes. They
Right.
are the way they're animated, how well they're animated. It can give a lot to a good anime movie.
No
What did you
cap.
think of those?
So the only thing that bugged me in the animation, like the battle scenes were fine to me. Like
Mhm.
I so it kind of confused me a bit because some parts of this movie seemed like it wanted to be more of an adult anime, but then
Mhm.
you had these moments where the hunters were emotional and they'd have all these explosions going on behind them,
That's
like a
normal.
kiddie anime. So I was like, well, kind of make up your mind which way you want this movie.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't think there's really what you consider if there's no like pornography to it. There's no adult anime and there may be like little kid anime, but for the most part, anime is like it's for whoever. They don't
No, I
really
know. I'm talking about like
like the changing of the faces to be expressive and to be chibi and all of that is a very
Yeah, without
common
seeing
thing.
this,
well,
what I think
something
it's
like
like Attack
Vampire
of
Hunter
Titans
D, which is
versus
made for adults, right? Doesn't have that what I'm talking about, which would when these kids when they got all emotional. That
Chris.
kind of reminded me of like a Dragon Ball Z kind of thing, right?
Chris,
Right.
Mike.
I think that's more of a date, like when it was made kind of thing. What, James?
Yeah.
No, sorry. To me, when I'm hearing from Mike and Chris, you might know this is Attack on Titan
Mhm.
versus My Hero Academia, where although My Hero Academia has like some seriousness, but you can really see it's geared towards a younger
That's a
generation, whereas
perfect
Attack on
example.
Titan
Yep.
clearly is meant for like 13 and over or 16 and over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but even on Attack on Titan, there are moments where they will slip into letting a character have a funny look, an over-expressive face,
Yeah,
extra
exaggerated.
large
Like,
mouth.
yeah.
Yeah, that they will do that. Now, this anime does that more often.
Okay.
Like the lightning guy, the guy in yellow who was
Mhm.
crying all the time. He does that all the time.
Yeah.
He is constantly afraid. It's his character. Like that whole group of three, kind of Three Stooges style,
Mhm.
is definitely the comedy of the series. It definitely carries through.
Okay.
So it's always like that. The series is like that, and they will swing heavily between the fun, chibi expression to serious, mutilated people
Interesting.
in the woods. Like they don't care. They will swing wildly
Yeah,
and build you into
it
them.
didn't make the movie bad. It was just a little confusing because on the one hand you've got this over exaggerations with the kid crying or whatever. So I see that as a more kid style type of show, but then it got very bloody and very gory, So it was
Yeah,
just
see,
weird.
I guess I don't. Just seeing that style does not necessarily, like those don't necessarily combat each other in the more anime you watch, the more you'll see. Sometimes they'll avoid it. Sometimes they'll do it
Too much.
sparsely.
Right.
Sometimes they do it all the time, but they don't mind mixing and matching those tonal differences.
What about the fight scenes? I hear you guys really get into
So for me, this is one of the things I love most about the series is their powers. There aren't necessarily. It's not like they're controlling water, right? It's not elemental, though they have an elemental feel to them.
Yeah.
Like they'll target, but their powers will kind of come up with a fire or lightning or that kind of thing. But it's not like he's going and he's more powerful because he's next to water. It's just that his power moves with his sword will invoke the use of a water structure. You know what I mean? So like he'll create a water dragon because of his special move and breathing. And the other guy will do it with fire. and they'll have different abilities, but it's not because he's invoking the power of water. I don't. It's
I
kind of
gotcha.
hard to explain, but it's not like they're summoning an element. It's not like he's inherited a power to summon an element. It's kind of a style that he's been taught to invoke this type of power.
Makes some sense. I gotta watch the show.
Yeah, but all right.
No, I just gotta make. I really, one thing about anime across all the different genres is the fighting styles and how it's depicted. You know, Chris, you know this very well. Sometimes it's stylized, sometimes it's dynamic, sometimes it's like the little trailer that you showed me earlier, which is like really cut sharp, which is interesting. Like I've been watching JoJo, not to digress too much. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and to me, I really like those fight scenes because they remind me of the '90s style of caricature where the character will pan out and then you see the whole background move and then they'll go into a slicing motion and the screens go dark and interesting stuff. This show seems like it's probably a little more modern, obviously, with the fighting styles. What about villains? Like I know you talk about the demons themselves, but is there one particular antagonist that really stood out in the show, or no?
No, I think for the series, it's definitely more of a week to week. There is an overarching villain, but you get very little glimpse of him. He's more of a force around that people talk about, that people are scared of. Like the demons are scared of this head demon guy.
Entity? Was he in a movie?
Yeah. No, he was not. But you get, like you said, we said there are rankings. The number 3, I think it was, demon showed up and whooped some serious ass. And so that's, I don't want to show you that battle because that is the best battle. But I think you should.
At the end of the movie?
Yeah, I think you should see it in context.
I think
and it's long. It's an elongated battle. It's probably 10 minutes or at least. Yeah.
But I think the middle one dragged out a little too long for me. The sleep demon guy.
Yeah, he basically had one move, and the continuous use of one big move felt repetitive, even if the animation, animation was cool.
And then at the end when he was about to die, he said, what did he say? Something about, why was I trying to kill everyone at once or something?
Yeah,
like
it was
so the stupidest thing. Like his whole plan was based on this stupid thing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, he had the power to kind of take over the train and just assumed he could just kill everybody in it easily, like he had done in the past. But of course,
it was something about he wanted to eat. The plan was to eat everybody at the same time or something. Yeah.
Right. So his power is to put people asleep, make them dream happy dreams, and then basically kill them when they wake up or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Sick.
It works. I think it works. Again, having seen the series, you're a little bit more invested in the main character and his missing of his family. So that makes a big difference. Whereas Mike, I don't know about you coming into this fresh, where you see him where he's stunned that his family's alive. Did that really do anything for you when he's in the dream state?
Yeah, no, I figured, I know his family was dead. So, I knew it was shocking. Like they would be alive again. And then the part where the demon's trying to convince, like the demon's got his family saying stupid shit. And then he realizes, they'd never say that about me, right? Or whatever. So I thought that was fine. The one part I did like in that battle was when the demon kept trying to put him to sleep. And he kept up. And as soon as he woke up, the demon would have an eye right there, put him back to sleep, and he realized, crap, as soon as I wake up, I have to open my eyes, and then he's going to put me under right away. So
yeah. I think my favorite part about that is the boarhead guy is that he couldn't actually put him to sleep because he had no idea where.
Oh.
Well, it's a mask. It's a big mask he never takes off. So like the demon doesn't know where he's actually
Mandalorian.
looking. Right. So he's actually a really fun character. He's probably one of my favorite characters of the series. He's over aggressive and funny.
Yeah, that's good. No, I'm glad you mentioned the mask because I wasn't sure what the deal was with that.
Well, he says it's the mask of a demon of a boar god I stole or something like that.
No way.
But no, he wears that all of the time in the series since you meet him. You end up seeing his face once, and he's like one of those very pretty characters. So like that goes against type of the gruff voice with the weird boar's head and the things. But I liked it. Like I said before, what I like most about the series, the stylization of the battle of the superpowers that they use. I like the animation overall. I think it's really solid. I don't think they skimp and do a lot of cutting where people are standing still and not doing anything in the middle of battle. But I could do with a lot less screaming. I could do that with a lot of anime. Screaming people's names and crying is a little grating for me.
Right.
I was going to ask you, where would you rank this movie? Well, this not just a movie, but the series itself against the pantheon of other anime that we've talked about for over a year now. Top tier, middle, below.
I think it's a top of the middle road. Like, I really like it. I need to see more of it. To I've seen some things you see a lot of, some things you don't. I think it's inventive enough, and the characters are solid enough that it could go higher if other things came along.
Season 2 is supposed to be released in the summer.
Yeah. So this, like, I feel like this is just an episode, like a really good episode. I didn't feel like this is some kind of breakout movie. No, interestingly enough, apparently this movie is the top grossing movie of all time in Japan.
Ever in Japan.
Wow.
Ever. $474 million grossed internationally. So that's quite a lot of money for this thing. So it's doing really well. And like I said, it's a really good series. I would definitely recommend watching the series.
Let me ask Mike, would you, based on the movie, are you interested in going back and watching the series itself on Netflix?
Yeah, I'm actually going to watch it. I'll give you an update after I've seen it.
Cool.
What I think. So, but if we're going to go to grades, I can give you a grade on it right now.
Yeah, go ahead and grade it for me.
So right now, I think I'll give it a B. It was very entertaining. And I think it's only a B because I don't have the series to relate it to go higher. So,
yeah, I was actually going to give it a B as well. Like, I was hoping for something more. Like you said, I think the main villain got, like, I needed more from him. Like, the end villain was interesting, but he also kind of comes from nowhere and, like, they don't build to him.
Right.
And the main villain is kind of, it's interesting, but it kind of gets dragged. This definitely could have been like 2 episodes. It really didn't feel like it had to be a movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I liked it. I like the anime. I will continue to watch it. I was glad it's there. I thought it was awesome looking. I'd recommend it, but it doesn't break the world in any way.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
All right. That would be our episode. So we're gonna call it now. Thank you everybody for joining us. Mike, where can they find us? Where can they help us out on social?
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Heroes Peak. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Like and share our videos. Let everybody know.
And leave comments, please. Leave comments. Start the dialogue.
Smash that like button. Subscribe.
I'll edit in Brooksy's voice saying "Stop texting James" somewhere.
Any longer.
Do not learn.
Stop texting James.
Okay. And thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you next week.
All right. Take care.
Ciao.